Idle hands are the devil's plaything. No, seriously though, let me explain. How many times have you watched an obese preacher look down their nose and wag their finger at you for smoking weed? Perhaps they just haven't gotten to Genesis 1:29 yet in their studies. If that's the case, then they certainly haven't stumbled across the various verses about gluttony. They might even look the other way at moderate alcohol use, or pour themselves a big cup of coffee every morning. Why such disdain for one, but not the others? Have they accidentally installed the government and its war on drugs as the ultimate authority in their lives, instead of the Word of God? You see folks, I'm playing a bit of devil's advocate here, of course. The point here is that we shouldn't focus on what other people are doing, and point fingers and judge them. What we should be more concerned about than what we are doing, is why we are doing it. Let's clarify one thing real quick: inanimate objects are inherently neither good nor evil. Let that sink in for a minute. Certain objects or substances tend to be labeled as good or evil due to their typical associations with particular circumstances, but, for example, your firearm in your safe is no more virtuous or unscrupulous than the bag of weed in my sock drawer. What matters is how you use it, wouldn't you agree? Let's reiterate one other fact that the Bible tells us in Romans 8:28, all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to His purpose. That means God can and does use even the bad things in your life to bring about the good that He has planned for you. Likewise, Satan, being a counterfeit of God, tries to use everything he possibly can for your detriment and destruction. Therefore, if you are spiritually idle and just let things and situations control you and be your God, the devil will jump to fill that God-shaped void in your life with a quickness. Objects do not have intrinsic moral value, only power. If an object has power, it has potential for good or evil. Anything with power can be a double-edged sword. So that firearm in your safe can be used to protect your family from an intruder, or to rob a convenience store. The food that has the power to sustain us also has the power to kill us when moderation is not practiced. The prophet Elijah called down power from heaven on a group of kids that were making fun of his baldness, and 2 bears came out of the woods and killed 42 boys for calling him baldy. The bag of cannabis on your neighbor's coffee table could be used to fry every last brain cell and sit around playing video games with his friends, or to calm his ADHD or anxiety enough to function properly in society and enjoy a far superior quality of life than he otherwise might. The Bible instructs us to remain sober-minded and vigilant, for the enemy prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. So in my ever so humble opinion, I would go as far as to say that as long as you practice moderation and it doesn't cause you to stumble, who has the right to tell you that Genesis 1:29 is somehow cancelled, or no longer applies? Some obese preacher who is convinced you are going to hell for utilizing some of the herbal medicine the Lord provided for us, while salivating over the thought of stuffing his jowls at the buffet later on, and berating the waitress for taking too long to refill his Diet Coke. Listen folks, all I'm saying is let's try to be a little more gracious when it comes to wagging your finger and judging other people. You have no idea what they're going through or what they've gone through, and how far they've come. The devil will use whatever he can to make you stumble and try to destroy you, if you let him. The important thing is to have a relationship with Christ so he can take all those stumbling blocks and use them for his glory in your life. No one is perfect, we all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. Just because you sin differently than I do, doesn't make you a better person or Christian. Remember folks, Jesus hung out with sinners and tax collectors, and chased the pompous, pretentious, religious people out of the temple with a whip after flipping their tables over. True story. So just because you don't approve of something someone is doing, doesn't make them wrong and you right. Why don't we all try to just let God decide what He's going to use, and how He's going to use it in each of our lives?